Welcome to our podcast. This is Real Talk with Mary Contrary and Starfish. Oh yeah. Yeah. So I'm happy to report this is the last episode of our Project 2025 and Trump. Thank goodness, because I think everyone's tired of hearing about him and
Ugh.
all of that. So gross. So this episode is going to be the last installment, and this is about specifically Donald Trump's political grifting, right? We're going to talk about Trump crimes, which is very interesting to me. And I cannot wait to hear about all the things that he did because as we all know, he's a felon.
Mm-hmm.
He was convicted on how many counts was it, Starfish? I
Like
lost track. Like it
34.
was so many.
It's 34,
34
I believe.
counts. Yeah.
He's appealing it, of
Yeah.
course, but in the
Well,
meantime.
of course. And I think there'll be more probably
Oh yeah.
if he doesn't get into office. So
And there'll be
hopefully if
more
he does too.
grifts forever until he dies. He will grift people.
Yes.
So,
And
oh sorry. Yes. Did you have anything else to?
I had a question, for those
Yes.
of us that maybe what exactly is grifting?
Yeah, grifting is kind of a term for basically pretending like you're doing something and actually doing something else. You're stealing people's money. So it's really like a scam or a fraud, but it's a specific term that people use for things that are obviously ma not even trying to be um, real, These are such
Basically,
obvious grifts. It's not even funny.
oh yeah, this is basically our favorite subject here on Real Talk with Mary Contrarian Starfish. So, grifting with
Grifting.
Donald Trump today.
It's very much more a popular term now than it hasn't been in history. It's just he repopularized it, honestly, I think.
Oh yeah,
So Trump the grifter,
the popular worm.
I mean, his things go back so many years, but they're finally catching up to him. So the first one that we all remember is Trump University. So Trump University ran for like 5 years, but it was accused of defrauding students, leading to a $25 million settlement in 2016, which
Oh
reimbursed
wow,
students nearly 90% of what they paid. Essentially, it was fake. It was just saying this is what you're going to learn, but they didn't actually learn that. Nothing, no credentials were coming out of it. They were just paying them money to like listen to webinars and stuff. It was really a huge scam. So 25 million there.
wow.
Right. Then there was the
Oh
Trump
my God.
Foundation. Yeah, I know. I love that one because he really wanted to dismantle the federal the Department of Education, which we talked about a few months ago. And it's for reasons like that. They want to have a university that would allow them to basically scam people, grift them out of their money. And it's like, no, that's why we have the
Wow.
accreditation and protections in place for things like this. So his was one of the scammy universities that got closed down recently, thank goodness. He also has a charity called the Trump Foundation, which ran from 1988 to 2018, so that's a really long time. The New York Attorney
Wow.
General accused them of self-dealing, using the charitable funds for personal and political purposes, of which we'll get into a couple of them. So they dissolved the foundation, and there was a $2 million settlement because you're not supposed to use money
Wow.
for a charity for yourself. If people are, so that's the grift.
Yeah,
If you
duh.
say that you're using the money for charity and you use it for yourself, hello, that's exactly what we're trying to prevent. What a
Yep.
jerk.
Yeah, right.
That one's really gross that, Trump Foundation. Ugh.
That was a
So
long running, and only 2 million.
I
Like
know.
that's crazy.
I
Because
know.
that ran for almost like 30 years.
Right. I have no
Like that's
idea.
insane.
It is insane.
Huh.
I was surprised too.
Ugh. Okay.
I mean, they can, we've seen that in a lot of these cases that they can only get you on what they can get you on. I mean, the $25 million thing was like the best ever. That's a huge settlement with the Trump University. So, that's up closer to the amount that they make people pay usually. Um, so he also violated the emoluments clause while he was president. So he violated the U.S. Constitution emoluments clause, which is basically using your office to bring money toward, to you. So he profited from foreign governments at his hotels, basically staying in the hotels, his hotels.
Wow.
I know. Um, Unfortunately, all the cases were dismissed. It's really hard to prove, and a lot of presidents sort of do things that are or candidates kind of on that line. But his was obviously for self. We saw it during his campaign that he would go specifically to Trump buildings, only Trump hotels, Trump golf courses, and so all the Secret Service had to stay there. Everybody had to stay there. So that was, I mean, it's benefiting him personally. It's kind of a violation. So also involved in the Trump Foundation, he oh excuse me. No. The Trump Organization, different than the Trump Foundation. So the Trump Organization was sort of this umbrella thing. And in 2021, the Manhattan District Attorney charged Trump Organization and its CFO, Alan Weisselberg, with tax fraud. So they failed to report over $1.7 million in employee benefits. So
Okay.
this is the fun part. Weisselberg pleaded guilty in 2022 and was sentenced to 5 months in jail. 5 months, big whoop. Jeez. For,
Right.
all of this horrible stuff, tax fraud. Oh, 5 months. Like, no wonder they
Yeah.
keep doing these things. It's
Yeah.
just
They're like, eh.
ridiculous.
Yep.
Right.
Wow. That's
S-
crazy. And did Trump, was he like found guilty in this as well?
No.
Ugh,
So,
okay.
so I'll get into that next, how all of these people have taken the fall for him and his crap. But these are kind of more things that well, I mean, I guess that one isn't the best example, but that he was more directly involved in. Um, this one too. So, as we all remember, after the 2020 election, Trump raised over $250 million through the Stop the Steal campaign. And I'm not sure people didn't think that this is what it was used for, but essentially all of it was used for the legal battles.
Hmm.
It wasn't, and it was used for him to travel around and rally against this voter fraud, whatever.
Yep.
Then in 2022, the New York Attorney General filed a civil lawsuit against Trump and his company for inflating the value of properties to obtain loans and then deflating them to reduce tax liability. Such a grift.
Wow. That
I
is
know.
crazy. Like, so, like, there's like almost nobody that can get away with shit like that unless you're like at his level in disgustingness, Like that's crazy to be able to have the power to do that.
He is the definition of getting away with it murder because you're rich. I mean, really, he's the poster child for this. It's really just like time after time they call him Teflon Don for a reason. He just fights it and fights it and fights it. That's his only tool, is just saying I didn't do it and fighting it.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's been very effective for him. So a lot of people have taken the fall for him, and what he has done.
Hmm.
So one of them was Alan Weisselberg, which we talked about. He took the fall for him. Also, Paul Manafort he was the Trump's former campaign chairman. So he was convicted in 2018 on multiple counts of bank and tax fraud related to his work in Ukraine. So he was sentenced. That was the whole thing with the impeachment. So he was sentenced to 7.5 years, but he was later released because of freaking COVID, of course. Also, Trump pardoned him anyway in 2020.
Oh
So,
my God.
hmm
So he gets out.
he gets out. So that's Paul Manafort. Then, um, he also had, um, let's see, there was another one that was close to that. Michael Cohen, he paid the money to Stormy Daniels, if you recall, the
The
prostitute.
prostitute.
Yep,
Yep.
who Trump obviously banged while he was married to Melania, pregnant with Barron, by the way. Gross. So Michael Cohen was his personal lawyer for many years, and he had to plead guilty because he was just so disgusted with everything Trump was doing. He was the one who came forward. So he pleaded guilty to tax evasion, bank fraud, campaign finance violations, and he's the one who arranged the money to Stormy Daniels, essentially, and another lady, Karen McDougal, which we didn't hear about. So he was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison, but he didn't serve very much time either. He was on probation and let out because of COVID as well.
Wow.
Then there was Steve Bannon, if you recall, the fraud charges for We Build the Wall. So he created this We Build the Wall GoFundMe account, telling people
Wow.
that they were going to be using the money for We Build the Wall. Of course, he used hundreds of thousands of dollars for his personal expenses, um, despite claiming all of it would go. But Bannon was pardoned by Trump, so that, of course, he didn't even have to serve any time. I don't think. Maybe a very
Hmm.
little amount of time.
Yeah.
Here's more people
Gross.
he pardoned. Roger Stone, so obstruction, witness tampering, lying to Congress. Essentially, he lied to him. He's been friends with Trump for a really long time. So he's convicted of 7 felonies, including obstruction, witness tampering, lying to Congress during the investigation into Russian interference. He was sentenced to 40 months, but Trump commuted his sentence early, of course. Oh, these are for all the things that had to do with um, yeah, the Russian thing. So this is another big thing is the Russian thing. So Rick Gates, Trump's deputy campaign chairman, pleaded guilty to conspiracy against the United States and lying to investigators during the Mueller investigation. He cooperated with prosecutors. He received a reduced sentence of 45 days in jail. Ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Then,
Wow.
and then there was George Papadopoulos. He was a foreign advisor for Trump in 2016. He pled guilty in 2017 also to lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russian intermediaries during the campaign. He was sentenced to 14 days in prison, which is why is this even? Why are we
Yeah.
even doing this? But it just shows all these contacts that he has,
Yeah.
that he
Oh yeah.
has had lied to the FBI about, and everybody's like, oh, he wasn't guilty. He has nothing to do with Russia. Baloney. This is another one. Michael Flynn,
Yep.
Trump's first national security advisor. He also lied to the FBI about his conversations with the Russian ambassador during the transition. So he was also pardoned by Trump. So Michael Flynn, George Papadopoulos, Rick Gates, Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, Steve Bannon. I mean, come on. Like all these people lying to the FBI and tax evasion and fraud for Trump. He gets people to do these things for him amazingly. And I
Yeah.
don't I don't know why they do it. I don't know why they stick around with him. Yeah, I don't get it. The loyalty to him is baffling to me.
It's gotta be money driven.
Hmm.
Like I'm sure they're paid very well.
Oh yeah, they've got to be right. It cracked me up when a lot of the people did the Stop the Steal were not also pardoned by Trump. You know, I don't understand
Yeah.
because now there's like justice for J6. Like if you say J, see a sign logo that says J for J6, that means justice for January 6 people. And so
Wow.
why he didn't pardon them also was a fun mystery to me. And they expected him to, but he didn't. But anyway, just his involvement with just so
And
many things.
those are his followers. Those are
Right.
his rally
Right.
people.
Those are his people. Why he didn't
So
pardon them, I have no freaking
I
idea.
think
Why they
it's
still support
if
him.
right, like it's pretty insane to me. Again,
Right.
like the following of this man and
Right.
all of his stupid lies. So like all these people though, if you notice, they're all in a position of power and they have the ability to help him in some way. So of course he's gonna want to work with them. He's not gonna work with Joe Schmo off the street who just like stormed the Capitol and did all this shit, you know?
Right. No power there. Right. Of course.
Right.
Yeah, seeking out those people in his environment that are willing to basically do whatever he says and have some ability to get him where he needs to go, where he wants to go. Yeah. And he
Well, and
somehow
this is why
creates this
people like him get away
relationship.
with stuff. I mean,
Yep.
the guy's a convicted felon, for God's sake, and he's on the ballot for president. Like, I've never
Uh,
seen anything like this in my life, you
right,
know,
right.
ever. Like, I've just never seen, you know, everyone thought President Nixon was so bad. I'm like, he doesn't look so bad,
Right.
compared to this,
I know.
which
And he
is
resigned. I mean, he
right,
gracefully resigned after they found out what he had said because he recorded himself and it was
right.
it was on tape. I mean, it's basically the same thing, but people just don't care. You know what they love about Trump is that he fights us. He fights us. That's what they love about him. They stand up. he stands up for them, they say. He fights for me against you morons who think there's 78 genders and that men should be in women's sports. And it's like we're not this big group of people who all think the same thing. And also, screw you if you don't want gay rights and trans rights and
And
all
when,
that. Fine then, fine. But he
yeah.
really just, they love that he bullies us, basically. They love that part. And so they are loyal to him and they let him get away with all of this and then don't care.
Yeah, they really truly think a man like that is going to save the world. Oh,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Trump will fix everything. He's
Oh,
going
they
to
do.
get in and we're going to get more money in our paychecks. It's like, yeah, he did that by basically fucking up the entire tax structure. So now every time you get a new job or anything, you have to rate your taxes, it's just like smoke and mirrors. It's like you're not actually getting more money, people, like
Right.
on in tax and financial. Like it's just the way that now you have to calculate the taxes yourself, whereas before it was all put out before for you. Like you would just claim one or zero. You can't do that anymore, So it's just stupid that these people think that a man like this is going to save them for anything. Because I guarantee you, any crisis happens, any war, we'll be just left out to dry, the American people, if he gets in office. He doesn't
That
give a shit
that's
about
what
us.
happened during COVID, and I wish those people would remember that during COVID he left us out to dry. A lot of people were dying because he just said the stupidest things. In fact, I didn't even include one of those things that apparently he had some sort of stock in like hydroxychloroquine, whatever it was. You remember that
Oh,
during
the
COVID? Like,
hydroxychloroquine. Yeah,
yeah, like
chloroquine.
there
Yeah.
was another handful of things I didn't even include that are just like, like that. He had all this stock in it, so of course he pushed that. Any way they can get money out of you. So if he gets in office, he doesn't have to go to prison. He doesn't have to pay, all these things that he'd have to pay. And he gets tax money from us for that short period of time, until a Democrat comes in and undoes that crap. And so they know what they're doing. They know they're grifting this money from us for no other reason than self-gain. And they love that their supporters support them despite not having any reason to whatsoever, other than, oh, you're owning the libs. Good job. You make them look stupid like they make us look stupid. Like being educated makes them look stupid and whatever. Being
Well, but
racist and
the
bigoted
scary
makes
part
them look
is,
stupid.
I mean, the scary part is that like if he does get in and like takes over the government, they could come in then and make it so he stays until he dies,
Oh,
and
they
that's just
will.
not. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he has that many more decades left, thank God, or even a decade,
But it sets a
hopefully. But
precedence of allowing whoever dictator they let in. You think they're
right,
gonna
yeah,
open up the election right then? No way. If he becomes a dictator and then he dies in office, they're just gonna appoint another person. They're never gonna
go back to democracy. Yeah,
let's start the democracy back up. Sorry about that. No.
yeah, that's not going to happen.
Once you
Yeah,
have
so that's the
control, you
scary
have
part.
it. It is scary. It is scary. They don't want to live in a world where we all have equal rights and where we all vote and where we all have control and power. They don't want that. They want it themselves. So,
Right, and that's really what all this is about. It's a fight
mhm.
for the U.S. Citizens to have rights. Yeah,
Stop falling
basic
for his
human.
scams, people.
I know. It's
Please.
like stop following this asshole scams. Like he's the
So many
ultimate scammer
things.
of all time. Like
God, how can you
there's been
forget
no
all
one
these?
else. I know.
No,
There's been like no one else in
not even
history
close.
with all this. Like even some of the bad cases that we've done in the past, it's just like they don't even hold a candle to this
No,
shit.
no, no. How this
So
guy's in power is just beyond me. God.
yeah, it's insane. Like I totally insane. So I really hope that everyone who out there is listening to some of this can take some of this home because this is all out there. This is all information that you can very easily look up and see for yourself. It's not some sort of conspiracy or scam. These are real facts. This guy could get in and do a lot of damage to the American people. Like, and it just really does not matter who you are, what you do. It's everyone and everything. This will affect the environment, it affects healthcare, it affects everything about
Everything, everything.
humanity in the US, basically.
And our basic right to a democracy. I mean, I feel like we have a right as humans to make choices about who we choose to
Good
have
point.
lead us and represent us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, and I mean it'll drastically change a lot of things. I mean it's going to change the entire US like market, the jobs, everything. I mean it just is going to affect everything. And that's
Hmm.
the main point that we've been trying to drive home with this. So,
Yeah.
um that's that's kind of where
Go
that's
vote.
kind of
There's
where we're
still
at with
time.
this.
Go vote. There's still
Yeah,
time.
please. Yeah, please really do your research, do some soul searching if you need to, but please do not vote this man back into office. Like he should not ever be there. Any of his regime, it's going to be a nightmare for America. And I really hope it doesn't happen. It's very scary for a lot of us. It's
Hmm.
scary for women. It's scary for uh, the gays. It's scary for people of Jewish faith, like minorities, all the
Anybody
minorities.
against him, essentially,
Yeah,
you're out.
yeah.
Hmm.
And that's just scary to think of. It's like they're so like it's just so culty. They're these people are very violent. I mean, we
Hmm.
saw it on the January 6th.
They're
Like you
afraid
saw
we're gonna
them
do that. And I'm like, what? You did it. You did it. We didn't do that.
like
Give
yeah,
me a
like I
break.
didn't run a Confederate flag through the US Capitol. By the way, that still really bothers me. But
Oh my
like I
gosh.
just couldn't believe I saw that.
Yeah,
So that's kind of what we're going back to, which is like totally insane to me. Like it's just completely insane that this is even allowed to even occur in
I
our
know.
lifetime. Like I've just
It,
never seen anything like it.
no, I mean, it's just somebody who obviously tried to overthrow the government. We're like, yeah, go ahead again. And then when I tell people like he's so dangerous, why is he dangerous? Nothing happened to us while he was president. Because nobody let him people didn't let him get away with it, but he knows the loopholes now. I mean, oh man, has history taught us nothing? It's exactly what Hitler did. I'm sorry, I have to bring it up every time, but this is exactly what Hitler did. He had a trial run.
Yeah,
This is his second run, and if he gets in office, he will become a dictator, period. And our rights are
yeah.
totally scared. So that's it. I don't want to talk about Trump ever again, Mary Contrary. I'm so over it.
I really hope that we don't have to ever continue talking about this horrible man. Hopefully the next time it's mentioned, like he's being put in jail for all the stuff that he's done to us so far. But I really hope you guys get out there and vote. I hope a lot of people that are on the fence just listen to some of this and take it to heart. Like really do some soul searching for yourselves and your families. And I really hope, this last push, I just really hope people wake up a little bit and enough to keep this out of our system and out of our government. So with that being said, I really hope you guys get out there and vote for this election because it's probably the most one of the most important elections of our lifetime and for America. Honestly, I'm personally terrified of this, so I just really hope that we come into the new year with some higher hope than what we've had. So please get out there and vote, everyone. And until the next time we talk, I really hope that you stay informed and stay safe. Thanks, everyone, for listening to Real Talk. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. We look forward to having you on our next one.